start to the end. I mean, what were your first thoughts here?
Well, as I said, I was at the gym, so I was only watching moments, but I was watching enough in between sets and slacking off to kind of tell that, like, okay, so Edmonton had scored first. I'll be honest, I missed that goal.
1 minute and 6 seconds in, baby. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was just getting there. I'm like, wow, okay. And then all I saw from then on was the Panthers holding the possession. It was all Florida. And you definitely saw it when that goal was scored. They challenge it. It was a little bit like what the Kings did to Edmonton, and then Edmonton gets the power play. So a little Uno reverse card where Edmonton loses the challenge, and then next thing you know, Florida's sent right back on the power play, and you kind of knew that Florida was going to be buzzing after that. So you lose the lead. I will say Edmonton did a great job at staying in that game and fighting back, but giving up that third goal really felt like they were starting to let things slip, and the Panthers had all the momentum. Then you flash forward to the overtime, and it felt like the majority of the possession at first was in Florida's favor, possessing the puck. Edmonton struggles with a couple things. Edmonton struggles with breakouts from their zone. If they can get the neutral zone, they're fine, but the stretch passes are not working against Florida. And they struggle with zone entries on the offensive side of things as well. Everything is either a dump and chase, or it's a maybe flip it up and maybe McDavid's going to get there in time because he's got the speed. So they need to kind of clean that up. The passing was a little sloppy, but then I thought after a while they kind of settled down and retook the momentum and possession to an extent. There wasn't a whole lot of offensive zone time that was sustained, a lot of shots coming from the point. But I was literally just telling, I was watching the game with my mom here in my living room, and I was literally just telling her, I'm like, if they don't, so Nugent Hopkins, right before that goal, still on that power play, he makes a play where he gets pinched on the boards and throws it back to his man at the point. It gets picked off, and Florida goes the other way and has an opportunity shorthanded. I was like, if Nugent Hopkins just sends that puck low instead of high. I get they want to be comfortable and not try to push the puck too deep and lose it in the corner because Florida was kind of taking all that. If they send the puck low, though, and they have a guy there who just so happened to be, it was Corey Perry and then Connor McDavid, but they had numbers along the boards. If they send that puck low instead of high, you don't have to try to take a shot through traffic from the point and have it go the other way. You can get something down low and go back low to high, and that's exactly what McDavid does. Is he's down low, the focus gets shifted to him. Draisaitl's all alone, not quite high, but in the slot, and that's the essence of low to high, and boom, game over.
Yeah, no, I mean that's
nuts.
The biggest thing I saw too was like the penalty kill. I think Florida was really trying to be aggressive there to get to the intermission. To just end that, because I think there was like 30 seconds left on the penalty, and there's probably only 30 seconds left in the period itself, or maybe a little less than that. Let's see, because he scored with 19:29. So yeah, there's really like 30 seconds left in the period when he scored, and I think there was like a 17-second difference between what the penalty was going to be, and then obviously what the end of the period was going to be. So I think Florida was really trying to push the envelope there. I mean, they're always aggressive on the penalty kill. We know this. This is their bread and butter. But to your point, I think them scoring really early was kind of the nail in the coffin. I know they were down 3-1, Edmonton was, but I think them getting on the board early, getting the crowd involved was a big deal. The challenge was here or there. I mean, I let's talk about that, shall we? Because I thought in the moment, I definitely thought it was goaltender interference because it didn't look like he was aided in the fall. It looked like he just decided to fall. But I don't know. Go ahead, Brock. You're making faces at me. Go ahead.
Oh, watch it back. Bennett goes down easy. Let me start with that. He goes down easy. But by the definition, he trips on, I think it's Kulak's ankle. He does. The ankle is there. He goes to move backwards. He hits the ankle. Whoops-a-daisy. Sam Bennett doing Sam Bennett things. Like, it's just, yeah. That's my take on it. It's shitty, but it is a penalty. Or sorry, it is a trip. Like, it is a trip. Sorry, it's not a penalty.
I do think they got the call right on that.
Yes,
it goes into that gray area of like what is goaltender interference because there's not much of a push from the defenseman from Kulak. And like you said, it's more Bennett tripping over the ankle and falling into the goaltender. So like maybe a decade ago. And the reason I remember this so well is because that's when the Hawks were that dominant team making these runs, and you'd see it so often, right? In competitive games that meant something. It's one of those where like they would have like maybe 10 years ago called it like not goaltender interference, but like don't count the goal and have a face off instead because the goaltender was unable to play his position, right? So like, but they've kind of cleaned that up to the sense where it's like, all right, like if the guy falls now and it's not, necessarily goaltender interference, then it's going to be a goal. So, I mean, that I agree with you. I do think that they got the call right, but Edmonton has every right to challenge that. I mean, if I'm Edmonton, I think I'm challenging that as
100%.
well.
100%.
And yeah, you lose that challenge, and then now you just have to suffer the consequences of trying to kill that penalty, which they did not. I liked what you said about going back to Florida being on the penalty kill. I did notice they're aggressive very high. They know that the shots are going to come from, because they have the middle of the ice jammed up. They know that the shots are going to come from the point. So the very start of that penalty kill for Florida in overtime, they were on Edmonton's defense at the point. It was when McDavid picks up the puck and then they kind of like took a breath and took a step back.
Yeah, because you can't
created that separation.
Right.
You have to respect him.
Yeah. You have to respect him.
Yeah, he's the second best first overall pick in the series. I mean, we established that in our last podcast. Yeah.
I'm glad that take still lives.
It's still there because Nugent Hopkins is playing well. Other big thing, other takeaway also, because Carter Verhaeghe scored in this game, and I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but coming into this, the Panthers were 25-2 in the postseason when he scores, and now they're 25-3.
The streak is over. No, the streak is over. The Panthers were leading. Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, that streak is over.
Yes, that's 30 straight games where they hadn't lost. Yes, that is correct.
30-1. Wow.
There's a lot of streaks that ended tonight with that goal. Also, over under on how much Sam Bennett's going to make this offseason. I'm going to set it at 9.5. By the way, $9.5 million per year. And you guys can battle me all you want, but I think he's going to get 10.
I think a better number is 9. At 9.5, I take the under. At 9, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
If he stays in Florida, though, you're going to hate the contract because it's going to be like freaking, I don't know, 7.99999 just to piss everybody off because it's not 8. You're going to hate it if he signs in Florida. It's going to be an absolute discount. Yeah. If he gets to market and continues playing like this, it could be 9 to 10. It could be, for sure.
Could you imagine Marchand staying on this team, too, with Bennett?
You're going to hate that contract if Marchand stays.
Because I think Ekblad's gone. I don't think they're going to worry about paying Ekblad. Because I think they have the bargaining chip with him. They have Seth Jones. They're going to be like, okay, buddy, we're going to give you this. If you don't want it, then see you later. We understand that your services are no longer needed. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Go ahead, Mike.
There's going to have to be a couple of players taking hometown discounts if they want to run it back because they're going to be in, for lack of a better term, cap hell. Coming out of this. I mean, cup or no cup, they've gotten back there. They've gotten there 3 years in a row, right? So these guys are going to want to get paid. And I'm going to take the over on Sam Bennett because of the fact that the Chicago Blackhawks and Kyle Davidson are going to be signing him. And you need to give him the over in order to bring him to Chicago. I mean, the city's lovely. The living here is great. The people are nice. You got all of those things. No, but
there's some great parades that happen in June. They're just not for Stanley Cups. They're for like Pride Month, probably.
These days, yes. But you also have playing with Connor Bedard, but this team is still rebuilding, so you have to sweeten the pot a little bit for him to sign here, and that's why I'm taking the over, baby. Give me Sam Bennett.
100%. The other kind of irony about that Leon Draisaitl goal, 1 minute and 6 seconds into the game. So I had the stats department do some digging, and if you look back at the Stanley Cup Finals last year, the Panthers line that had Barkov and Reinhart on it only allowed 1 goal all series against Draisaitl and McDavid. And it only took them 1 minute and 6 seconds to go ahead and match that from last year. So literally, they're good. That's going to be for my money. That's going to be the difference in this series. Is if it's going to be the battle of those top lines. Like if the defense of Florida can shut down Draisaitl and McDavid, obviously, they're probably going to win the cup. I was going to say, they're already not off to the right start. So we'll see what happens there. And then Ekholm was back. He made a big difference. For Edmonton as well.
What a pass.
Great pass.
David. Oh.
Great pass. Yes, 100%.
Mm.
The other thing, too, Florida coming into the series was shooting 14.3% as a team. That is the highest since 2000 for a playoff contending team, or I guess for a playoff team in general. And I'm assuming that's when they started tracking shooting percentage. So the last 25 years, we've not seen a team shoot this high or score at this kind of rate, I guess, from a shooting percentage standpoint. So, I mean, as far as like the rest of the game, did you guys have anything else you wanted to touch on?
I got nothing.
I think you hit most of everything.
I do have more fun stats if you want me to keep going.
Before you hammer out some more stats, I do think it bears mention that I think that we've become so accustomed to McDavid, we become desensitized when he goes and does McDavid things. He was absolutely shot out of a cannon tonight. He was a part of every single play that first period. It was ridiculous. Whenever he was on this, he had like one of the best penalty kills I've ever seen a player have ever, period. It was nuts. It was the one where he stick lifted Reinhart in the slot, took the puck down the ice. I think he had a chance on that penalty kill himself to score, put it off the bar. I think that was that same sequence. Either way, I just wanted to give McDavid his flowers because I feel like we've just become so accustomed to him doing this crazy shit on a nightly basis that we don't talk about it enough. Like
he's competing against himself. Like he's tarnishing his own. He's tarnishing his own legacy by like whenever he has a normal game, if that makes sense. Yeah, very LeBron-ish.
A normal game for him is like a great game for pick the best player.
Actually, I'm glad you said that, Brock, because I found this amazing stat. Did you know that 51% of his playoff games he's played, he's had 2 points or more, and in 22% of his playoff games, he's had 0 points. And so literally, you have what is it, 20? And then 27% of his playoff games, he's got 1 point or more. So 4
of every 5 games, essentially.
Literally. 100,
he points in them.
At least a point.
What is that like to have your star players show up? What the fuck is that like?
Yeah, true Leafs fan. Oh, other thing about Sam Bennett too. He became the second player in NHL history to have 11 road goals in a single postseason. Wow. So
the Panthers have been 2 tonight.
Yeah, they've been great on the road. And the other player did that in 2018. Do you guys want to tell me who that was?
I wondered if you had the name.
Oh yeah, I do. You know,
this is road goals.
Road goals to have 11 road goals in a single postseason.
Tell me it's Ovi. Be Ovi.
No, it's not Ovi.
Tom Wilson that year?
No.
Was it on the Caps?
No, it was not on the Capitals.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So maybe I'm thinking Vegas instead. Then it's got to be one of the two, right? Because
be like.
It's not on a cup. It's not on the cup final team. Nope.
And he has 11 road goals.
Yep.
Holy shit! Who did they even play in the conference finals? I don't even.
I know Vegas played Winnipeg.
Okay, so Tampa, Winnipeg. So think of those.
No.
Teams.
No. Not on.
Well, no, I wasn't Tampa. It wasn't Tampa. No.
Okay, so it's
Washington beat Tampa.
I understand that, but you were.
Right, but the players not on Tampa.
Correct.
The players on Winnipeg.
Players on Winnipeg.
Adam Lowry.
No, I'm looking for Mark Scheifele, fellas.
That was my next.
One guess on Winnipeg, bastard.
Looking for Winnipeg. Yeah, looking for. This is great podcasting, first of all. But anyway, Mark Scheifele was the answer to that one. Just insane. And then another fun stat that I found was Florida is making its 4th Stanley Cup final appearance in history. Can you guys tell me how many times they've made the playoffs as an organization?
Oh no. I think it's only like 5 or 6.
That's 11. They've made it 11 times in the club history, but they've made the cup final 4 times out of the 11. So pretty good. I mean, as a Toronto fan, would you take that?
Yes.
Okay.
Just didn't even hesitate.
Just making sure. And it's very important too. I think Florida needed to get off to a fast start, and this backs us up a little bit too, just because Edmonton is 5-0 this postseason in games 4 through 7. So,
oh wow,
yeah. So they got to get out and get on them early, and unfortunately, they did that. And then
what's wild about that is that they've only played 5 games in games 5 through 7. Think about that.
Yeah, because
in 3 rounds they've only played LA, 5.
Yeah,
like that's also a wild stat. Like they only played 10 games in the second and third round, which is wild.
Yeah,
but all right. Yeah,
and McDavid is looking to become the 4th player in history to lead the postseason back-to-back years in points. So
Him or Dry
Well, you
Side.
look at how important this Stanley Cup final is. Even though it's the same two teams, it's very different from last year because of the fact that Edmonton has the home ice advantage here. So a Game 7 would be in Edmonton, not in Florida. But if you go down in Game 1 at home and you're Edmonton,
Home ice
and it
advantage,
starts out like last year, you're behind the eight ball again, and you're looking at maybe splitting at home and then having to walk into Florida, where Florida's been solid at home as well. So, I mean, what are you looking at then? Being down 3-1 coming back to Edmonton for Game 5, like you needed this, and they always throw the stat out there of like I think it's like 77% of teams that win Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final go on to win the cup. So,
is it really that high? Wow,
something like that.
Game 1
that's
is important.
really high. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Blackhawks
really
never
high.
lost a Game 1 in 10, 13, or 15. So, I mean, we know that well here in Chicago, but you see it pretty much in every series. I can't remember the last series.
That's a crazy stat. I think that's
Did you see the other? Did you see the other stat where it showed that every team that went down 0-2 starting the postseason, like it has gone on to win the Stanley Cup? Like the 2018 Capitals started the postseason 0-2, and they went on to win the cup. And like there was like 8 teams that have done this, and literally all 8 of them went on. The teams that had made it to the Stanley Cup final that started 0-2 had all won the cup final. So 8 times I think it's been done.
Sometimes you have to really lose to figure it out, to figure out the problem, I guess.
100%.
What's going on here with Edmonton?
Well,
the crazy thing too that everybody forgets is like they went down 0-2, but Eddie Olczyk brought it up on the broadcast tonight during the overtime period where he was saying you forget that not only, or it might have been the third period, but he said not only do you forget, not only did they go down 0-2 to the Kings, but on top of it, they were down 4-3 going into the third period of Game 3, and they exploded for like 4 goals. So I mean, you're talking like they didn't even figure it out all of Game 3 either until the very end. So they could have been down 3-0 to the Kings.
Yeah. Well, thank God Calvin Pickard exists. That's all I got to say. He literally saved their whole post. I think I mentioned that on the last week's pod. That I was just like, what would the universe look like if Jim Hillier wasn't an idiot? Like if Jim Hillier was just not making boneheaded decisions out here. But the big thing too, guys, does the travel in this series, because they're 2,541 miles apart, these two cities, by the way. So is that going to make a difference, especially after an overtime game like this? Can it factor into the rest or recovery for teams?
I think it can, but it's not. I don't know. There's a lot of breaks between games in this series. Like there's 2 games between games 2 and 3, and then there's another 2 games between games 3 and 4. That being said, then they travel back to Edmonton, assuming it gets to 5, which I think we all are assuming this is at least getting to 5. Then there's only 1 game rest there, but I think it goes back to 2, and I think there's another 2. Because if I remember correctly, it's all over on a Thursday. I think it's like can't remember how many days it is. I did that joke with my father today, and now I'm drawing a blank on how many days it is exactly. So.
I forget. Yeah, I mean, I think these two teams are used to it, being that they were in the same position last year. And I don't even remember if there was those 2 extra days of rest that you're talking about. But I did look
Friday,
at
the 20th.
The 20th.
The 20th is technically
15,
Game 7.
Yeah, 2 weeks tomorrow. Or no, 2 weeks.
16 days. 16 days.
15 days.
Yeah.
It's technically
So,
the 5th.
yeah. I do think, of course, having an overtime period tonight, the recovery is probably a little different for both of these teams, but it's not like Game 2 is back in Florida. So you get to stay where you're at, recover a little bit. It's going to be a little bit tougher, I think, for Florida to recover on the road here than it is for Edmonton. Obviously, of course, winning in front of the home crowd and having that momentum going into Game 2. I don't care what anybody says about, momentum doesn't carry over game to game. There's a little bit of that does for sure.
Paul Maurice would tell you, no, there isn't, which I think is ironic. Paul Maurice would tell you the exact opposite.
Well, because they're in that position where, they don't want the momentum to carry over. So I think that benefits him. I know he said it at other times as well, but I still believe, if you're Edmonton right now, you're flying high, and maybe you have to come back down to earth a little bit to keep your head straight for Game 2. But I just don't see this team faltering when it comes to having their eye on the prize, because it's not for them. For Edmonton, it's not game by game. I mean, yes, you're taking it game by game, but it's even going into this series. McDavid's just been thinking about this for like 365 days of being back here and so like, are they going to take their foot off the gas? Not now, not especially when they get an overtime winner at home, and they've kind of, I won't say they've figured it out, but they've scored 4 on Bobrovsky tonight. I mean, that's a win. That's a win in and of itself, other than the actual scoreline.
And Zach Hyman called it. He said they'd be back. So if I was going to ask you
Rest
for your
in peace.
predictions, RIP. He's not really gone. He's still with us. His wrist is gone.
His wrist is gone.
Yeah. Hopefully he's a righty. You know what I mean? Anyway, as far as predictions for this series, how do we see it going from this point forward? And we'll start with Mike, since Brock has got to wet his whistle here.
Yes.
I had said Edmonton in 6, but that would mean they're winning the cup on the road, which I mean is very doable. But I think if you can steal a game in Florida, obviously game 2 is in Edmonton. If they go up 2-0, it's going to be tough to do. But if you can steal a game in Florida, you come back home for game 5, you win game 5. I think any time you have your, foot on their throat and you have the opportunity to close it out, you have to. You can't just, obviously you're not going to wait and go, oh, let's win it at home game 7. No, don't go to a game 7. Just get the job done as soon as possible. So I think 6 is the perfect number. I do think that if they can be up 3-1 or 3-2 by game 6, it would be 3-2. I do think that they can close it out in Florida.
Okay.
That's gonna be tough to follow up there. Big Canada Daddy, what you got for me?
No, his logic is sound. I would definitely tend to agree with him. I think that's the way to go about it if you're going to go about it that way. But I was so undecided going into today.
I'm still undecided.
I could not decide how to go about this to logic my way into who I want to win, or even how they're going to win, why they're going to win, however angle you want to look at it.
Wait a minute, you claimed your fandom.
I did. I'm getting there.
Okay,
so
sorry.
My change in opinion comes from a basketball take. So I hope both of you can maybe touch on the details of this, maybe add some light to it. I heard that apparently Giannis has some interest in the Toronto Raptors. Is that true?
No.
You haven't heard that at all?
No. Why would he want to go there?
Mike is squinting at me, or at least he was frozen squinting at me. And
I hadn't heard that.
No, okay, so maybe this is from a podcast. So I would assume that they had a source somewhere that said this to them. I don't know. Like, relax.
Sports memory? Is that what their source was?
I have no idea.
All
so
right, enlighten me.
The logic still pans. Like, it makes sense the way they're explaining it. If he wants to go, it doesn't even have to be Toronto. Let's say it's somewhere else. Okay, he wants to go somewhere else because he's already won in Milwaukee.
Okay.
So I'm bringing this back to the Leafs. If Connor McDavid wins a cup in Edmonton, I've already done it in Edmonton. I'm going to go do it in Toronto. That's it. That's my pick. I hope he wins next year, too, without a contract. I've done it twice now. I'm going to go to Toronto. That's why it's a selfish, completely conceited take. But it is my take.
Actually, you're not wrong. Antetokounmpo himself is going to the off-season open-minded, quote, about a possible new home. Per ESPN's Shams Charania, one of those teams is the Toronto Raptors, as the Toronto Stars. Doug Smith reports there is mutual interest in a deal there. That was 6 hours ago per Yahoo Sports.
Wow.
So I did. Yeah.
Hey, Dalton. You want to retract that initial reaction?
I think that was like he put out a list of his favorite cities, and I think Toronto was just one of his favorite cities, and he just wants to give everybody.
Oh no! I'll wait for my apology. I don't like your initial reaction.
You're gonna have to wait another episode because there's no way that Giannis is going to the Raptors. There's no one there. There's no team.
You heard that quote though. There was mutual interest.
That means it's happening. That means it's happening.
There's mutual interest between Brock and Bonnie Blue, but I still don't see that happening. So
no, it's not.
Anyway. Like, come on, what are we even talking about here?
So who am I? Who am I in that one? Am I Giannis or am I Toronto? Who am I in that comparison?
I'll let you decide.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But as far as this series goes for me, I'm torn back and forth. There are a couple reasons why. Obviously, the history tells me that Edmonton's probably going to win it. Just because I love that Sidney Crosby and Wayne Gretzky stat. I don't know the comparison there to when, Gretzky got to the finals, lost to the Islanders, got back the next year, had the rematch, and then Gretzky won the second rematch. Crosby with the Red Wings, same thing, lost the first time, came back, got the rematch, beat them the second time. So if you're a history nerd, you think it's destined to happen. As I watch this game happening, though, I'm like, man, this is literally Florida's last run because kind of what we hinted at earlier. Like they're gonna need some hometown discounts if they're gonna get some of these guys to stay. The Marchands, the Ekblads, the Reinhardt, or not the Reinhardts, but the Bennett's.
They lost pieces last year though too. Like Montour's not there.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter.
Like I'm just saying. Like,
and Bob's going to be what 35 next year or 36 even.
Buddy, no, I think he's 37. I think
exactly.
I think he's north of 35. I think
so. He's going to be another year older. I'm torn, and I think if I had to go, I think I'm just leaning toward the history side, and I think I hope a jinx happens because I'd like to see the Canadian streak continue of not winning the cup. So I'm going to go Edmonton at 7 because why not? Tell me how many teams in Canada have a Vince Lombardi trophy, Brock?
That is one of the funniest lines you've said about this whole Canadian USA thing. I think that's really funny. Yeah. Explain to our Canadian listeners what that is.
It's a Super Bowl trophy. That's what that is. Yeah. Anyway. Don't insult our Canadian listeners like they don't know. Go ahead, Mike.
In addition to that cup stat of Crosby, Crosby then went on to win a gold medal for Canada at the Olympics the very next year. So, I mean, McDavid already won the Four Nations face-off.
Parallels continue, yeah.
And so, will he lose the one cup, win the next cup against in the rematch, and then go on? And I'm really hoping. Sorry, Brock, but I'm really hoping.
Apologize all you like.
that the U.S. finally figures it out in the Olympics on the bigger stage where it matters. Tage Thompson, but also, I mean. No.
But, sorry, I cut you off. Sorry, Mike.
No, but that's I think that would be quite the storyline there because I'm pretty sure they brought this up, and I'll quote Spit and Chicklets actually because I was listening to them earlier today. That I'm pretty sure that when Gretzky did it, lost the first one to the Islanders, won the second one to the Islanders, and then went on to win a championship nationally or representing Canada. I don't know which tournament that was. Was that Worlds at the time? I'm not sure. It was back in the 80s, but it was a very similar path as well. So there's so many. It's weird how time is just a flat circle and how it just loves to repeat itself. And so I think that's probably where I'm going to go. So if you're going to fade me, I would go Cats in 7, maybe Cats in 5. Go ahead. Yeah, what do you got?
No, I was just going to say history often does not necessarily repeat, but it definitely rhymes.
Okay.
I love that quote. That's not my quote, but I love that quote.
Okay. We'll keep that in mind. Fair enough. Well, we'll definitely see what happens. We appreciate having you in again, Mike. It's always nice to have
Thank you.
2/3 American on this podcast. So I know you're going to put you on the spot. We do have to get negative on this podcast. Like you always know, it's time to put somebody in the bin. This is brought to you by Warlord Beard Oil. Mike, I don't know if you checked this out, but you can check out warlordbeardoil.com. Use the promo code OLDSports for 15% off beard oils, washes, soaps, and more. And if you end up spending over $75 or more on the website, you get free shipping. And they do, I think, have baby oil, so just in case that fits your fancy. But Brock, big Canada Daddy, I know you're a big baby oil guy yourself. Who did you want to put in the bin this week?
Nice. So I really like this one. This stumbled across my feed and Graham reminded me of it today. This is now 3 straight cup finals for the Florida Panthers, and the Calgary Flames have still not made that first round pick that was included in the Matthew Tkachuk trade. So Calgary, I am putting you in the bin. That man, revisionist history is revisionist history, but looking back at that trade, I thought Calgary hit it out of the park, and boy, oh boy, did they bunt it out of play, and it got caught. Oh my God. Rough.
Well, definitely Well, they've come a long way too. They had they were projected to be bottom 5, but one of the analysts on this podcast this past year, they were fighting till tooth and nail for the last day for the playoff.
I didn't know Dustin Wolf was this good. I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Nice. We'll see. Mike, did I give you enough time, or did you want me to go?
No. I'm gonna smuggle a second one in here. I'm gonna throw two things in the bin because I feel like my first one isn't super fair. I'm gonna throw Thomas Nosek in the bin for the delay of game. It's an accident, but that cost them the game right there. But if I have to throw an actual like you did, Brock, a franchise in the bin for getting us to this point, it'd be the Boston Bruins, and I have no shame in doing that because you've unleashed Brad Marchand out in Florida with the rest of the Rats, and look at what he's done in these playoffs. He had a goal tonight. I mean, you hate to see it, right? Like I was like I said, I was at the gym and I just watched that puck go in and I saw 63 go and give the high fives and I'm like, of course it's Marchand, of course.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I don't trust anybody with a bigger nose than me. Look at this thing. I mean, I don't trust Brad Marchand at all. Although if he was on my team, I'd probably
absolutely.
Oh yeah, Brock posted in our group chat too. Any idea if you had to guess right now what's the contract he signs next year? I think my final guess is going to be 2-year, $9 million. By the way,
per year
with total?
Yeah, with somebody. No, per year. So like 2-year. I guess it'd be 2-year, $18 million.
I don't think it gets to 9. That feels a little rich. Apparently, he was willing to sign it. Like he was apparently willing to take like 4.5 in Boston, and they still said no, which is crazy to me. Yeah, which is crazy to me. I don't know exactly. That is complete hearsay. So I don't know. To me, I think it's 2 years.
His agent won't let him take that. Are you kidding me? If I was his agent, I'd be like, no, you sign. No, absolutely
no. If a player says sign it, no agent can say no. But to me, it's probably 3 years because it's Brad Marchand. He's going to get what he wants. I would assume he wants term. And I feel like it's going to be 6 to 7-ish. That feels like the sweet spot for me on a 3-year deal. If it's a 2-year deal, maybe it's over 7, maybe. But that's just my sentiment on it. That's how I feel it's going to go. He's gonna do whatever he wants for sure. He'll sign wherever he wants for however much he wants because everybody.
Toronto,
if he'll come.
Oh, he's arriving.
I'll take it.
I've heard Montreal because it's close to Boston. He'd be close to family. But I mean, I could see him staying in Florida. I mean, it all depends on the cap
I could
situation.
see him going anywhere. Like if he gets to market, I did this exercise earlier with Graham on the phone. Like Marchand. Like the culture he brings alone is just so palatable. Like imagine a team like the Jackets that have all this cap space. Hey, Brad, you want 3 years at $10 million? Here you go. Like, you want money? Here, we'll give you all the money. If you want to win, that's not ideal.
Him and Mitch Marner would be sick together. Could you imagine?
I can't imagine. I will imagine. In fact, I can't. I mean, I will. But it's
nice.
I would love that. But that's, I guess, the long and the short of the Marchand discussion. I love that bin, though.
Okay.
Like it's so true.
Yeah.
F the Boston Bruins on every forefront forever and ever.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. Well, fair enough. Well, I wanted to put the Dallas Stars in the bin. I know we've gained quite a Dallas Stars following over the past couple weeks.
Apparently, yeah.
But unfortunately, I got to put him in the bin for a couple reasons. One, the whole coach goalie fiasco. That has just been an absolute nightmare situation, the way Pierre DeBoer handled that game 6 debacle with Edmonton and benching Jake Ottinger and everything else in between. But they also made history because they became the second team in NHL history to lose three consecutive conference finals in a row. So I couldn't find who the other team was, believe it or not. I went all the way back to like 1975. So I don't know if it's when like the conferences were different.
That would make sense when there's only like 6 teams. You know what I mean?
I couldn't Google it, but I went all the way back to like the 70s, and I could not find a team that lost 3 consecutive conference finals. So if somebody wants to like let me know on Instagram, send us a DM. I would love to know who that actually was. If one of our stat heads out there, one of our all world listeners, there you go, can find that for me. That'd be great. So yeah, that was
popular in Sweden. Was it Sweden?
No, Netherlands. Yeah, shout out to our Netherlands and Dutch fans.
We're popular in the Netherlands. That's fun.
Yeah.
No, just me. It was just the episode I was on.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, Mike's a big fan of blonde hair and blue eyes. So
who is it?
well,
know
he's
what you're talking
Italian.
about.
He's Italian, man. He's
Italian.
Anyway,
I
Mamma
I don't
Mia.
discriminate.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely not.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of prospects at the Indy 500, by the way. So,
Where
but
is
that was that nice. That was in the bin. That was brought to you by Warlord Beard Oil. Make sure to check out warlordbeardoil.com and use that promo code OldSports for 15% off. Again, spend $75. You get some free shipping with it. Let them know that we sent you. Now we'll get positive before we wrap this puppy up. We're going to hand out the C. We're going to give somebody the C, and this is brought to you by SeatGeek. You can make sure to download the SeatGeek app and use the promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off your first purchase. So we can go check out a White Sox game, maybe get some $20 off your purchase. You know, I don't know, Brock, what kind of sports you got up there in Toronto nowadays? MLS, maybe? You can check some soccer out now that hockey's over.
Yeah, there's
something. Yeah. Blue Jays. I don't know what kind of SeatGeek is going on in the Netherlands, but you can use that promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off wherever you are. Download that SeatGeek app, and we'll hook you up, courtesy of Between the Benches. So, Brock, who do you want to give your C to this week?
Well, I am normally one of the biggest critics when it comes to the NHL as a league and how they operate. In most of their decision making, like the Department of Player Safety and whatnot, and the CBA in general, you could nitpick that, et cetera, how they promote their players. I can go on and on. But whoever came up with this idea for these viral moments for the NHL awards, which is apparently what they're going for with what they did with Barkov and Kucherov, I think they've hit this one out of the park. They normally don't change. They don't deviate from tradition. And in this situation, they have. They're trying something different. And I'm going to give them their flowers for it. I will acknowledge change when a change is attempted. And I think this is for the better. I'm excited to see how this 1 hour special goes next week before Game 4, because I think what they're doing so far has been good. I'm not going to say it's like, 550 feet upper decker home run, but it's a home run.
Raleigh,
This is going well. I like the idea. I think it's doing what it was meant to do, which is great. If you haven't seen the Barkov clip, by the way, with the kids in the hospital, it is very wholesome, very, very sweet. I recommend you go watch it.
That's the one I haven't seen. I saw the Kucherov one, though.
I've seen both. But they're both good. They're both good just for different reasons. The one is with his Kucherov's is with his teammates, and in the Florida one, he gets the kids from the hospital that he usually goes and sees apparently once a week, which, Sasha Barkov doing non-Sasha things. We like to see that.
Nice. Yes. Well said. Also, you should give the Florida Panthers the C because I think their whole organization went to the Gaudreau 5K walk recently or whatever it was.
I did not know that, but yes.
Yeah, literally the whole team, everybody from trainers to players to coaches to everybody in between attended that. I believe it was this past Saturday. So shout out to the Panthers organization for doing that. Go ahead, Mike. I think I gave you enough time to maybe come up with one. Who are you giving your C to?
I'm giving my C to Paul Bissonnette for playing through gout.
Nice. Okay.
Gout. and he's still surviving. So
nice.
Well, get his C, buddy. That's the first C I think he's probably ever had in his entire career.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah. I'll let this when I make the shorts. Maybe we'll tag him in this one. Hopefully, he gives us. See if we'll get a shout out from him.
He watched my story today because I reposted his thing. We've actually gone back and forth because I won that Pink Whitney shot machine for a while back, and then I made the video and stuff like that. I've met him too at a couple of events, but nice guy. I don't think he remembers me. I think he remembers the blonde that I was at the event with.
Nice.
Hey, remember your nose. You just said you can't forget that nose. So come on, don't sell yourself short, man.
It's gonna get longer the more you talk about me like that.
Yeah, you've been hanging out.
Nice.
Yeah, you're hanging out with Kuznetsov in your spare time or something.
Heyo.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's a good one. I like that. I'm gonna give my C to Arturas Slovis. I think I said that right. Did I say that? No. Artur Slovis. I think I'm saying the last name right. No,
you got the first one right. Oh boy.
Go ahead, Brock.
This one's unfair because there's no H where Artur's Shelovs.
Damn, I've seen him play for the Canucks too. That's the sad part. Yeah. I think I actually spot started him in fantasy at one point this year, and he got me a couple wins. But Shelovs, he is the goalie right now for the Abbotsford Canucks in the AHL. But he's getting the seed because he's totaled 5 shutouts in the Calder Cup playoffs so far this year, and he is 1 away from tying the AHL record for shutouts in a postseason set by Mika Nornen, and that was back in 99-2000 AHL playoffs. So he's carrying those Canucks down there, and I tell you what, the Canucks may have a goalie conundrum because then they signed Lankinen to Lankinen. Then they signed Lankinen to an extension, like a 3-year deal, and then they got Demko, and they're going to lose Shelovs for what, nothing?
Demko only has 1 year left. Does Shelovs need a contract?
I think Shelovs needs a contract if I'm recalling correctly from how I read. We can
look into that once the offseason.
Yeah, that's a good offseason topic. But yeah, I think
talk about
Sharks? Question mark? Flyers? Question mark?
Sharks definitely not.
Would they send it in division?
Flyers? Question mark?
Flyers maybe. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
They need a goaltender.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense.
They always need goaltenders. So, but yeah, Shelovs is getting the seed, playing well. And then I think it's I don't know if they've made the finals yet, but I do know the Checkers have made the finals in the AHL. So Florida can go for a sweep if they win the Stanley Cup and the AHL Cup. They can go back.
Fun.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. So, and how the hell do you get a polar bear for a mascot when you're called the Checkers and you play in, like, I think they play in North Carolina, but like, how in the hell does that become your mascot? I don't know. Anyway, that's off-season talk apparently. But gotcha. Well, good episode, guys. That was, by the way, Getting the C. That's brought to you by SeatGeek. Make sure to use that promo code Old City Sports Network for $20 off your first purchase, courtesy of your friends here between the benches. But anything else anybody want to add?
I will say this. Could you imagine
ahead.
that all of this time that I'm just fucking with you and you are saying the names right?
Oh my God. Could you?
Could you imagine?
Which did I? It was Saskatchewan. Is that I
Saskatchewan was a fun one.
Because I was putting
Saskatchewan.
I was putting them
literally
together,
just
I literally married those two. Yeah, it was a nice
and Darsh, the one that
Darche. He just throws an accent on it. Just
you know,
I mean, you knew he was French, so you're trying like make it sound more French. Like
I'm with you. Yeah, that's where I was. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
We did cover Giannis in this episode with our little basketball talk there.
Antetokounmpo, yeah.
Okay, I have no fucking idea. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I don't
Antetokounmpo, yeah.
Yeah, I would not have got.
Yeah.
You showed me that, no fucking idea.
And I said Giannis, but it is really Giannis. The Greek
is it Giannis?
No, you say it with a Y. Yeah, like gyro, like when you eat a gyro.
Yeah, so I love a good gyro.
So
we're the best city for gyros.
How do you actually say it?
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, so I said it right. Giannis, not Gon.
Yeah.
Giannis or Giannis.
I said Giannis. I added a little G in there.
We've got
I'm part Greek, so
I should. Yeah, there it is. Well, 46 shots tonight, guys, for the Edmonton Oilers. And the 46th one was the winner, courtesy of Leon Draisaitl. 2 goals in game 1.
Oh, fun stat. My buddy, near the start of overtime in one of my group chats, made me pick who scores the winner for each team. I went Bennett for Florida, Draisaitl for Edmonton. Your boy picked it.
Nice.
Like that.
Well, you need to start putting money on it. What are you doing?
Shout out Matt. I should have put money on it. Yeah, if Matt's listening.
Degenerates, bro. What are we doing?
Dash Degenerates. Are we not doing that anymore? We gotta bring that back.
Oh, I guess we should bring that back. Well, I feel like we need to do more than one episode to do that. Also, if we're gonna do that, I mean, you want it. I'll give you what the people want. You know what I mean? The people want it. The people get it. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, well, we are the Between the Benches podcast. Again, Mike, thank you for joining us.
Yes,
always
sir.
A pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
You're a lot. Well, I swear, something about you just seems more handsome than Graham. I don't know if it's the hair or the fact that you're American. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we're Between the Benches. Make sure to check us out wherever you get your social media, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. We are brought to you by the Old City Sports Network, and we will catch you next week. And that concludes this week's episode of Between the Benches. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and check us out on YouTube. Also hit the like and subscribe button and look out for the next episode. Until next week, you Harley Riders.
Doc, what a fitting ending! This is incredible!